stand up, we just want to greet you and say good morning and just so glad that you're here to worship with us. If this is your first time or if you've never filled out one of these Lifespring cards, it's just a great way to connect with you, and you can drop that at our VIP table right there in the back. So why don't you guys go ahead, shake a hand, hug a neck, say what's up to somebody, and we'll continue to sing.
Shake him. Hug him.
Doing all right?
Pretty good. Good.
You gave her a card? Okay, good job. My team girl.
Hey, Miss Jean. Good morning. How are you? I didn't know you were here. I guess I told you. How are you? Good. I'm sorry about that. Tonka's here. Yes, she's still here. Yeah, I guess still helping him out.
Make your way out of your seats. I think Alex has a few announcements for us before we continue worship.
How are you?
Good morning again, Lifespring.
What up?
So we got a few announcements. Family night at Lifespring is this Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30. We have babysitting for infants and toddlers, and we have Pioneer Club for 4th and 5th grade, and youth group from 6th to 12th grade, and adult small group Bible study. We have a great time doing that. Also, there's a family life conference camp. The trip is going to be October 20th and 21st. Location to be announced. We're working on that. Also, if you guys could, we have the Paint-Up fundraiser today at 4 p.m. The more they come, the better for the fundraiser, right? All right. If you guys want to stay to continue to worship, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Jesus, we lift your name on high, your name on high. offering this morning. If you're unable to give your offering today, there's several other ways that you can give by going online to our website, which is lifespring09172017A. There's also a box in the back that you can also download the app and give that way or sign up for automatic.
with me? Dear God, thank you for this day. We thank you for the chance we have to come and worship as a body of believers. And we thank you that we have the ability to sing and that we are free to dance and to run and to praise you and to worship you with all of our hearts. I thank you that we also have the opportunity to dig into your word and find out how we should live our lives based on the example of how you lived yours. I thank you that is very clearly written in Scripture as to how you lived your life and the actions and the words and the decisions that you made. I just pray as Pastor Nate comes and tells us about that you would just open our hearts and that you would help your life to impact ours. We love you and we thank you in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right, kids, you are good to go. Good time. Everybody say bye to the children.
Bye, kids. Bye, kids.
I call them children, but we know there's nothing chill about a crazy child. Have you guys ever heard something and you're like, dang, I wish I would have thought of that or said that, or I wish I could take credit for that? Meg is going to teach her class. What you said something about thank you for showing us how to live because of how you live. That was so good. I was like, that's like exactly what. It's like we play these things. Like that's exactly what we're talking about. And this whole 30 Days to Live series is just something that we're so excited about. I gotta be careful not to go off the rails too much because there are so many different things and different aspects and different experiences we've all been having together that I want to definitely stay on point. I want to respect your time, and today should be right under 2 hours. Okay, usually I try to keep under an hour. But here's the thing: we can't just go through last Sunday and not take a moment to just reflect a little bit more and to think about what happened. If you were able to be here and a part of our service last Sunday, it was the introducing the new series, which is 30 Days to Live. And just, you're going to hear me talk about this a lot, but talk about Jesus' last 30 days on earth. And what would we do, if we knew we only had 30 days to live. And we're not focused on the dying part as far as, if we got that kind of news or whatever. We're focusing on how are we living our life. And we're going to look at Jesus in that. And one of the best ways to start that series, one of the greatest things we've done as a church was take communion together last week. And we try to do that, we do that once a quarter. But as I shared with y'all last time, Becky, who is on our staff, her and her family, they just do so much for Life of our church. Me and her meet once a week, googly. Everybody say googly? What the heck does that mean? Google Hangouts, right? It's a beautiful thing where if she's like in the car, not driving, but parked or wherever, man, you can still meet and stuff. And we meet once a week like that, and then me, her, and Kelly all meet once a month, googly as well. But we're always asking about ways to reach each other, to reach this church and this community. And she had on her heart, as you saw last week, with the different worship stations and the different aspects. And before I just jumped in and dove in today, I want us to really think about what you experienced last week. And if you weren't able to be here for that, we had a chance to reflect, literally go through different stations, literally write things down and experience different aspects of worship, to reflect on what Jesus did for us, why we are here, why we're able to take communion together, why we're able to worship together, why we're able to be free and free indeed, and all these things, and actual time to reflect on that. And then there was a chance at this next station that was over here to actually spend time in prayer, to just get in the place with God, to say, Lord, if there was sin in my heart, if I've done someone wrong, if there's anything in my spirit that needs to be checked, let's take time to check it. And so I want us and we talked about this at Bible study Wednesday night, and I want to mention it again today. If you experience something through that, through the service, through the worship, through the communion, through the stations, anything, please talk to somebody about it. Please let them know. What do you do if you go to a restaurant that's just amazing? Have any of y'all been to Pie Squared yet? Right down the road? Go, it's good. Right? The first time I went, I was like, dang, it's good. You got to tell somebody about it, right? You got to tell. It's also Rita's, amen, right? Right down the road? Nobody. All right. If you want to know where to eat, you know who to talk to? My team in blue back here, Josh and Melanie, they know the hot spots, man. They will tell you. But usually, yeah, amen. That's right. If you want a body like that, find out where they eat. If it works for him, it will work for you, all right?
So you would eat.
That's right. What do, though? You share it. You stay on Facebook, you tell somebody, man, it's the same thing with our church, man. If you experience something, you don't have to go put your business all on Facebook. We do it about other stuff. You don't do it about your own personal stuff. But you could talk to somebody, For me, I'm just going to tell y'all, when I experienced those worship, those stations, and I thought about, man, putting that one rock into the water of saying, God, this is an area of my life that is gone. I just need you to help me. And that clear rock, man, that clear rock for me represented my attitude. Regardless, for me personally, whatever it was for you. But I'm able to talk to people and say, you know what, even when I'm stressed or even when I'm frustrated, man, I've got to still have a Christ-like attitude. I still got to talk to Hope like she deserves to be talked to. I still got to be sweet to Grace and Hayden and everybody around me. And so for me, that rock represented that. And just to be able to tell somebody that and talk about it and pray together, anything you experience and anything you continue to experience through our worship, man, we don't want to, I love what Tony said, Tony Danz last week said, we don't want to follow the rules of Fight Club and not talk about it, right? We want to let each other know, let people know what God is doing in your life. Because that's exactly what Jesus did. Meg really did. She nailed it, man. We are looking at how to live our lives based on how Jesus lived his. I mean, he was on earth fully human and fully man. Hello. Fully human and fully God, right? Both. He was both. And so he had to face some things. He had to go through some things. He faced temptations. He faced choices just like we do. And so this series, and especially coming off of last week, how powerful that was for so many families and so many people, we want to continue to look at, man, what did Jesus do? How did he handle these things and these aspects of life that he's calling us to as well? We're going to do something, I don't know the proper grammar word for it. Is there a word for reverse chronological order? Is that the phrase? That's the actual phrase. Okay, cool. See what I'm doing? Education. Yeah, there you go. So we're going to look at Jesus' last 30 days in reverse chronological order. Everybody say chronological. All right, reverse chronological order. We're busting out the big words today. Here we go. So we're going to look today. We're just going to look at one of his big decisions at the end. And the next week we're going to look at 3 other final decisions that Jesus made during his last 30 days on earth. And that's how we've been phrasing this series. We're looking at 30 days to live. If we knew our time was coming to an end in 30 days, how would we live our life? What choices would we make? Where would we go? What would we do? And we're going to look at literally what Jesus did. I think one of the main things to grasp and understand, man, there's so much other opinions out there. There's so much theologies out there. There's so many things. If you have the internet, which all of you do in the palm of your hand, you can find 75,000 different opinions, ideas, ideologies, all these things. And I want us to just go one simple place real quick to clear this up real fast. I believe in scriptures, and we're going to share those. I believe in it's important in the message of the gospel to know a major fact about Jesus' final 30 days. And that, man, it's in big bold letters, so you know it's important, right? Jesus knew when his death would come. It was not a surprise. It was not a, man, they captured him, got him, nothing like that, okay? He knew what was coming. Jesus talked about it. It was prophesied about. He let the people know. Yes, they came and captured him. Isn't that funny that, like, the Roman soldiers thought, oh, we're going to come at night and surprise. Jesus knew. That's important to think about, that Jesus knew that this was going to happen. Matthew, and I'm going to read a lot of scriptures, man. If you can write them down and we'll look back at them, we can. But Matthew chapter 20, verse 28 says this: the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. That's so important to think about, because Jesus spent his time on earth being him, doing what he was called to do, doing the mission that God put before him. And it's very important to know that it would have been very easy, because Jesus was fully human, man. It would have been very easy for him to kind of shy away from the fact that he was going to die. It would have been very easy for him to kind of go, if you have kids, you know that kind of, if they're toddlers or teenagers, if you have children, man, or been around kids, like when it's time to clean their room, it's like, I don't want to, kind of not maybe the best attitude always. Can you imagine Jesus? Like, he's on earth, like, fine, Dad, I guess I'll suffer and die. I mean, think about it. That was his instruction. That was his plan. That's what God called him to do. So over that time, especially the last 30 days, I can't help but think, would I have had the best attitude, going into that? Would I? And we're going to look at Scripture, and he does ask God, hey, if there's another way, cool, but if not, I'll do this. But he could have gone any direction he wanted to, because some people would say that wasn't the plan all the whole time, or he didn't know it was coming because he was captured and they were sneaky. That's Satan's schemes and lies. Jesus knew, everybody say, darn well. Jesus knew darn well what was going to happen, how it was going to happen. Everything was according to God's plan. If you look at Scriptures, if you look at how he spent his time with his disciples, how he spoke, everything he said, it was to tell people, hey, this is going to happen. John chapter 2, verse 19 says, Jesus answered them, destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days. He never wavered from what was going to happen. He knew, and he made it clear. And he tried to prepare the disciples. He tried to prepare his followers for that. What do we usually do? Like, you ever kind of hear something or get news, or you hear about someone in a good way or a bad way, or good news or bad news, and you're always just like, no way, no way. Can you picture the disciples and the followers as Jesus is like, guys, this is going to happen. I'm here to die. They're going to capture me. I would just be like, Jesus, you're the man. Are you kidding me? Water, you turned into wine. Do you remember that song? You did that, right? I'm just kidding. They didn't sing that back then, all right? But here's the thing. He did all these things, and as he's telling them, hey guys, I'm here to serve. I'm here to die. I'm here to do these things. You could just picture the disciples, the different ones, like, really? Are you going there? And then can you just see Jesus, like, when it happened? When he died, and we know he raises again from the dead and all that. But can you picture where they're all like, Jesus, I can't believe they killed you. And he's like, I told you over and over. He made it so clear in his Scriptures, so clear in the prophecies that it was going to happen. And yet still, sometimes things are hard to believe. But Jesus always is honest. He's always real. He never tries to deceive us or trick us. He always is upfront with us. Matthew chapter 20, verses 17 through 19 say this. Now as Jesus was going to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside and said to them, We are going to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be betrayed to the chief priests and the teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will turn him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. On the third day he will be raised to life. This was prophesied about. Jesus talked about it. He's telling them, does this sound like a man that had no clue what was coming? No. He knew full well. He knew completely what the plan was. And the reason why I think it's important for us to grasp the fact that Jesus knew what he was here for, he knew that he was going to die, is because to me, that's just another aspect of how great God is, man. To still live life every day to the fullest, to still be who he was called to be, to still preach and teach and love on people and reach people, knowing that his days were numbered, knowing that, think about this. Jesus could have came on earth, and again, he had to make every choice. He could have chosen to do whatever he wanted. We mentioned this last week, I believe it was the week before, like Jesus came on, and in the beginning, he was pretty popular. At Bible study, we talked about this Wednesday night, that he was popular. People were like, wow, the first miracle he did, hello, how are you going to get popular? You turn water into wine, amen? Everybody's like, hey, invite this guy to every party we have, every wedding we have. This guy is awesome, right? He knew how to get popular. He knew, and it was a fun message, and it was the miracles, and it was all good. And as we talked about before, it was when it was like, oh, now let me tell you what it really is going to take to follow me, and then they're like, I'm out, right? But in the beginning, he could have been a rock star. He could have stayed on that path. He could have tried to just do things his own way. Knowing that he was going to die, he still stayed humble. He still stayed a servant. He still stuck to what God called him to do. We shared a video last week of a girl named Ashley Suba. This is a girl I don't know, but off of YouTube. We shared her story. We talked about some people locally, that in our ministries in different areas. People that have faced death, literally people diagnosed with cancer or had loved ones with that, and how they still chose to say, even in the midst of this, the girl on the YouTube video, man, senior in high school, knowing that her next breath could be her last, she still chose to live life. If she only had 30 days to live,